Yo, what up guys, Old School Dan here, and in this video I want to talk about why natural bodybuilding is a joke. So another person actually made a video literally titled Natural Bodybuilding is a Joke, but I don't think he presented any solutions to how you could actually improve it. Now, this is going to be very controversial and very, I wouldn't say unethical, but different type of solution. So natural bodybuilding, let's talk about it. Now let's take a look at a few pictures, what natural bodybuilding looks like. Now, this is natural bodybuilding. These guys are absolutely shredded to the bone when they compete in these competitions. They're looking muscular, they're free of water, they're ripped, they're toned, they're dry as heck. And I have a lot of respect for natural bodybuilding to not turn to steroids and to not sort of take the easy way to the gain tower of gains or whatever you want to call it. And that takes a lot of hard work and dedication and willpower to not fall into what I call the dark side. So I have a lot of respect for that. But if you look at these guys, someone actually made another video where they talked about that these natural bodybuilders look the same every year, which I could pretty much agree. But again, it is natural bodybuilding. When you've been training for a long period of time, like over 3 years, your expected muscle gain per year could be less than 3 pounds of actual muscle. So that's not a lot compared to someone who could probably gain 10 pounds in like 6 months using steroids. So again, these guys aren't gonna look like a big difference like every year. Maybe over the next 10 years they can greatly improve, but over a few months or years, it's not gonna be a lot. And that's just how it is. That's how you have to understand it. So the natural bodybuilding competitions, they just looks like regular bodybuilding competitions, but smaller and, not as muscular and dense and thick. So now, if we turn back the timeline to, bodybuilding in the 1940s, where I 100% believe that the silver era bodybuilders were, natural. If you look at their natural bodybuilding, their bodybuilding they had a higher body fat percentage. They weren't as ripped. They weren't as dry. I'm pretty sure they didn't really go through a dehydration process like our natural body, as any bodybuilder does today, where they cut out water, they cut out sodium, they drink a lot of water, and they really cut out the carbs to really get down to that super dry, shredded level. I think they would reach a point where it's like, okay, I'm ripped enough, I have some abs, I'm a little bit more muscular. This is a cut for me. Like, this is what I look like, ripped. And I've seen pictures of when, Clarence Ross or Jack Dillinger were in their cut mode and when they were in their bulk mode. So look at these bodybuilders, what type of shape and condition they were, they were when they were competing, and compare it to natural bodybuilders. You can see a very big difference. And again, the standards of bodybuilding have changed, but when you go to these natural bodybuilding competitions, they're not as exciting as, regular bodybuilding competitions because of the amount of size that they don't put on. Like when you see Chris Bumstead, who just won the the Classic Physique Mr. Olympia, you see what he looked like last year and what he brought this year is very impressive. A lot of people get excited. They're like, wow, Chris Bumstead is in great shape. Or Brown, it looks freaking amazing this year. He looks incredibly jacked compared to last year's package. So, that gets exciting, whereas natural bodybuilders, when you look at them, it's not very exciting because they look the same as they did last year. And, that other guy that made a video very similar to this, he just called them that these natural bodybuilders look like twigs. And I'm not going to say that because respectively, when you look at them in person, they may be pretty jacked, especially for someone who's never used steroids. They're drug-free and they built a lot of natural muscle. It's very difficult. You gotta have a lot of respect for that. So I'm not gonna call them twigs. But again, there is not as exciting as is impressive in terms of, what it looks like on stage compared to bodybuilding. Again, you can't really compare the two because it's natural bodybuilding and bodybuilding, two different things. So what I would present as a solution, and again, this is going to be a wild freaking thing that may or may not happen in the future, but I think it should be highly considered, is going back to the standard of natural bodybuilding in the 1940s when Reeves and Reg Park and Clarence Ross and Jack Dillinger and all these guys were around, when that type of conditioning would be, I think, a lot more exciting and, a lot more preferable in terms of, I believe, aesthetics. Because when you look at natural bodybuilding, when they do a back double bicep, everything's ripped. Their lower back is ripped, the striations, there's the feathers, there's, everything's ripped. Even the ass has striations on it, which I don't think is really in my opinion, very aesthetic because, Larry Colbert even talks about it that, these guys now have striations on their ass and it's kind of weird. And I think it is I mean, in terms of how you want to, in terms of how aesthetics appeals to you, some people may like that. Wow, look at the striations that guy has on his ass. That's just incredible. That's awesome. Me, I'm like, they're just striations on the ass. So what? I mean, because I have a big, I prefer bodybuilders in the 1940s where they didn't have to show striations on their ass. They didn't wear these thongs. They wore trunks, bodybuilding trunks, not these thongs that they wear nowadays. I like prefer the classic physique trunks. So my solution would be to go back to this type of conditioning. Don't be super ripped. Don't go through a super dehydration process. Have a little bit of body fat on. Have a healthy type of look because they just created a division for women where I forgot what it's called. It's a you go into a type of condition where it looks healthy, a little bit more thick, where the legs have some mass on them. They're not super striated and super ripped. And that's a division they just created for women. I think men bodybuilding should even, imagine natural bodybuilding should just go back to a condition where it was a look that looks healthy, natural, definitely, reasonable, not in terms of reasonable, but very, how do I say, realistic, all right? Now, I'm not saying that getting down to that body fat isn't realistic. It is 100% realistic, but I think in terms of what a person could feel like they could actually achieve, and I think a lot of more people would participate and actually, I think the whole point of getting down to that type of level is to weed out the people who cannot participate or don't want to participate in that anyways. But I think just this type of look, going back to the Silver Era, the Clarence Ross, the Steve Reeves, the Reg Park, that type of conditioning would be so much more exciting to watch because the size, you could see a definite gain in size. I mean, you could comparably look at natural bodybuilding today and natural bodybuilding back then and compare which one you like better. And again, you could still notably see when someone puts on size and strength and mass in areas of natural bodybuilding. But I think this type of bodybuilding back then is just so much more exciting because the amount of body fat, the muscularity, the strength, the actual mass, and the actual aesthetics of what they look like on stage is just so much more, in my opinion, impressively aesthetic, in my own opinion, respectively. So I think this is what it should come down to, just going back in reverse, going back to the higher body fat, the healthy look, the more natural look, definitely I can achieve that type of look and inspire people through it, rather than, the ass striations, the super striated back, and whatnot, showing complete 100% muscularity. And I think this is what it should go to. That's my own opinion why I think sort of natural bodybuilding is a joke. And I'm not saying that it's a joke. It's just for the title of the video. In no terms do I think natural bodybuilding is a joke. It is to be taken very seriously. It is a difficult sport. It takes a lot of willpower. I have a lot of respect for it. But the title's just for views, just to catch you off. So yeah, this is what I feel like it should come to. And if you have your own opinion of what you think it should go to, leave a comment below. Do you think that we should maintain the standard of natural bodybuilding as it is today? And, the striations on their ass, the feathering on the back, everything ripped and toned and whatnot? Drop a comment below. Or do you think it should return back to the Silver Era age when Reeves, Clarence Ross, Jack Dillinger were around, where it has a higher percent body fat, the size was a little more notable, the aesthetic was more like a Greek god body type of structure, or Herculean type of look? Leave a comment below. What is your opinion? I'd really love to hear that. I'm interested in your own opinion. So with that being said, guys, subscribe for more videos like this. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm Old School Dan. I'm gone. Peace.